Call the City Council of West Liberty, Iowa to order. The first thing on the agenda is the roll call, and we are joined by a full house of council members. Councilmember Martinez, Councilmember Schiltz, Mayor ProTem McFerren, Councilmember Dominguez, and Councilmember Parizek. First item is item 2, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And then we move to item 3, which is approval of the consent agenda, and that amounts to the city council minutes of January 6th and the special meeting that was held on January 13th. Both of the year 2026. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay, and the ayes have it, and we will move to city engineer report, who thinks we moved slow enough that he had time to slip out for a moment.
Oh, yes.
There you are. We're ready for you. We have a very comprehensive report in the packet from the city engineer. Thank you very much. And
yeah, so the big item is sorry, I'm catching my breath a little bit. East 6th Street. So 90% plans were sent to the city last week. And the utility companies in that area and also the electric utility. The night you'll be setting the public hearing date for next meeting. And then at that meeting, we'll be setting the date for public bid letting for later in February. Or later in February, and then we'll be bidding it in late February and awarding the contract in March. So working through that, I'll be reaching out to Adam to get any comments the city may have this week. And so we can get those addressed. DOT's already provided one comment. They just want some tabulations added. So we'll get that added for the work that's taking place there on Highway 6. And then the big item I would say is looking to get a neighborhood meeting set up with the residents in that area, just to talk through the project, address any concerns that they may have. And then also let them know that we'll be coming for in March to get easements signed for temporary construction easements. And then we're on the north side of 6th Street there. We're going to be looking at doing a 10-foot private utility easement. That way electric has some room to work with when they're doing their new lines along that street for this project. That we did get pretty much going all the way across on Farmers Lane, terminating just short of the intersection with 7th Street. Added to the project and connecting through to Corn Street, and we're having to replace a little bit of Corn Street to be able to get the elevations to tie in appropriately to make that work for the project. I will be submitting the DNR sewer and water permits tomorrow for approval, and that usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks turnaround. It's a pretty simple package, so I don't imagine it will take very long. And then yeah, really the big thing is just getting with those residents, and then we're working on getting the easement descriptions and exhibits finalized. I'll have that over to the city next month so we can get it over to the city attorney to get the actual agreements written and signed with those residents. So really, whenever you want to hold that meeting, I'll make myself available. So just let me know what the date and time is, and I can make it work for that. So general, the big thing we did have a call with the library last Thursday. My architect's working on some things, probably coordinating a site visit to get over there to help with the roof issue that they're working on. So more to come on that. I think she's gonna look into a couple of different alternatives and send that over, and then work with the city to figure out what exactly we want to do there. So water department, that there's been a lot going on with the water department. I did finally get the report from the company doing the media sampling for us on Friday. I sent over the memo to the staff today, and I have a copy of it. I'll share that tomorrow when I get a chance, but I did get that over to the city staff for them. Everything looks good. That's the good news. Looking better than what we'd expect. So the media, what the filters were installed and put into operation in 2013, and then the aerator was 2017, I believe. Media, with how you're operating the plant, we'd expect 15 to 20 years. So we're getting close to that edge. It can be as low as 10 to have to replace the media, but it shows no sign, or there's not a lot of signs of deterioration. So we just are going to have them do an inspection or another sample in 5 years and start doing that every 5 years just to make sure things look good. And same with the aerator, everything looked good. It was just, if you see the picture, it will just look like an orange tint over everything, and that's just the iron build up on it. But other than that, it looked really good inside the aerator. The water use permit amendment, I've been working with the DNR to get it set up so I could do it on get it applied for. So finally got that all figured out today, and we'll be getting that amendment submitted tomorrow. And that's just to increase your water withdrawal rate out of the aquifer from 142 million gallons a year to 200 million gallons a year. And that will set you up for the future for any growth that you have coming up. 2024 was the highest recorded year, and you guys were at 174 million, somewhere in that neighborhood. So 200 gives you plenty of cushion, and there's reasons why it was so high that year. So that were unique to that year. Our operator will be going over the water staff next week. Next Wednesday, they finally got that scheduled. So he's going to be going through sampling and monitoring there, just make sure they're doing everything right. And if there's anything they're missing, and then going through some operations to see if we can't do anything there to help improve operations. There's some things that we know can be done, but those will be put on a CIP because they have a little bit of expenditures to them. They're not quick fixes that will be done. Wastewater department, I did include here, we provided a compliance strategy to the DNR for phenol compliance. And really that's just sampling and monitoring. And right now everything's looking like you guys are below the limit. So we think that we're getting enough data, and we'll be able to get that at some point removed as a compliance schedule. It'll still be something you have to monitor and sample for, but you won't be required to report on it and then also plan an improvement, which isn't necessary. So that's what we were hoping for. That's what our assumptions were in the beginning, and it looks like that may be the case. The electric utility and then the other thing is our grade 4 operator is gonna get out there sometime when weather gets a little warmer, because that's a little more outside than the water plant, to go through things and see if there's any operational changes that can be made. And then we're just kind of following along to see, tracking phase 1 as it's getting closer to moving forward in the construction. So, and then working with Craig and the staff out there to start planning for phase 2, but we haven't really started much of that at this time. And then for the council meeting, like I said, the electric, we're just going to meet with them to go over East 6th Street, coordinate everything and make sure there's no conflictions with our design and their engineers' design for that. And then upcoming, like I said, we'll be setting the date for the bid letting at the next meeting. Our operator will be meeting with the city staff next week. And then really it's just getting some of those permits submitted for East 6th Street. So, and then the other item I did get over to them is the West Loop cost estimate and concept that will be going, I think will be on the CIP upcoming. So, and that's the importance of that is if something happened to the water main stretch, if there's a break along Calhoun Street, south of the 3rd Street, that would shut off this entire area of town. There's no redundancy. So they'd have to shut off pretty much the majority of town, including the businesses. And what this loop would do is allow them to have a second transmission line going across the tracks to be able to serve this side of the city if there was something to happen along that water main stretch. So just adds that extra redundancy. And then also if something happened across for the main going across West Liberty Food, across the parking lot going out to the developments just on the southwest side of town, it also provides another feed loop for that in case. So you're not shutting off that entire area. So it's important from a standpoint of being able to have redundancy in case there was a emergency that happened with the water main break or something along those lines. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot else.
Very much appreciated your report.
Yeah.
The detail and the information on estimation of expenses.
Yeah.
I thought that was very good. So,
Appreciate that. And yeah, if there's anything I can do to improve, let me know. Still trying to learn my way through and figure out how everything works. It takes a little bit of time.
questions from members of the council?
I just wanted to tell you that during our planning, I was with a bunch of public works guys and they just raved about how happy they were with your company, and which made me really, really happy. So thank you for all of your work, and I'm really happy that the staff feels supported and heard and all of that. So thank you.
Well, happy to hear that. It does make it easier when you know all the bases that you're working with. So and know what's important to them. So that does help out a little bit. So thank you.
All right, city staff reports. There are in the packet information from the city manager on recommendations as we do new business. Anything else for the city manager?
No, Mr. Mayor, just a lot of my stuff is coordinating with the engineers reports. And there's just been a lot of administrative or personnel matters over the last couple of weeks. So, and starting budget, looking through budget stuff.
City clerk?
I have a lot of stuff going on, but
Yes.
not at this time. I don't have anything to report.
Committee reports, committee meeting. We did have a fire department meeting, and we discussed the budget that has been proposed, and that, of course, will depend on what we as a city can put forward for fire protection. And also report on the transfer of ambulance services or EMS services will occur when we have everything in order, the requirements of the 2080 agreement. And the report which I heard was that everything was going well with work on the transfer. Councilmember Parizek, anything else?
Just to add that they're working on the abstract, that's done.
Yeah.
They've got their camera system in place and up and running.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they're pretty good. They've got quite a few cameras and working good. And they're still working on the lease with the railroad.
Yeah.
So and then going over the budget.
Okay. All right. Any council reports? Hearing none, we will move on to item number 5A, vendor voucher claim list number 1 in the amount of $555,892.83. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion?
I just had a question on number 46, where it says the Ford F550 oil change elect for $455. Is that just an oil change for $455? Is that like normal? That it just seemed a lot really high to me for just an oil change. I'm certain maybe there's more other stuff that they had to do, but
I will have to take a look at that.
Okay.
When they are doing the claims list, they're putting as much information as they can based off of that. But I can definitely take a look at that and email council with a response on that.
all I had.
All right. Any other discussion, questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We move to item number 6, public comments and or correspondence. And this is the time that's set aside in the council meetings for comments from the public on issues that are not on the agenda, and no action can be taken by the council tonight. Are there any public comments? Are there any public comments? Are there any public comments? Hearing that, we'll move to item 6, public council or city council public comments and correspondence. We'll start with Councilmember Parizek.
I've not received anything.
Councilmember Dominguez.
The only thing I can think of, I did speak to somebody I knew who's a practicing mental health therapist who offered if there were space here to maybe have one in-person kind of satellite office and can do telehealth 2 days a week. He's bilingual as well, and he said that he will do pro bono for anybody who does not have Medicaid. So if the council is interested, I could maybe have them come to a future meeting or connect with city manager.
All right. Councilman or Mayor ProTem McFerren.
I don't have any comments per se, but I did have a question on whether or not the 2026 schedule is on the city's website for trash and recycle.
Yes. So on the city calendar page, the printable versions of both the recycling and the regular city calendar are on there.
Okay.
On the public works page, both the recycling calendar should be on there as well, and then the Google calendar that you can add to your home calendar is updated through December 31st of this year.
Okay, I'll check it out.
I have that added to my calendar and it really helps with that. Okay, any?
No.
Okay, Councilmember Schiltz.
Over the weekend, I had a few comments for where and people checking in to find out if he was open on Monday for the holiday. I kind of directed them that the city was open and running like normal. I also showed a few on the calendar that wasn't a listed closed day, and where to find the calendar as well. I did speak with Freedom Communications about, it was kind of a wonky day where people weren't sure if we are open, aren't open. So maybe next year putting out a couple days before, like just a reminder that we are open or we are closed would help in some of that confusion. Over the past week and a half, I've also had several individuals come up to me, just kind of sharing their appreciation for the police department, Chief Hauser and the officers, and with recent things that have happened, I think it really has made a lot of people just think all the good things that our officers do, and it's nice to hear those things. So yeah,
Councilmember Martinez.
I haven't received anything.
Okay. All right, city manager,
Nice.
city clerk.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we will move on then to item number 7, which is new business 7A. Discussion and appropriate action by the City Council of West Liberty, Iowa, on the request to secure classroom space for the Youth Services Program with the Ministerial Alliance. And in your packet is a feed from the city manager with a recommendation in that regard. So the process here is discussion and then motion and then consent vote. So is there discussion?
Is classroom 12 just right down here on the east side, or I did my best to try to show you a map of that area on the page too. But yeah, it would
The
be
second room,
on the back side, of the bathroom.
All right, is there further discussion?
Would this be like a dedicated classroom for them at all times, or would they share the space with like other folks?
Currently right now we would dedicate
So they can store their things?
yeah, so
Okay.
we have had a conversation that with the University of Iowa mobile clinic. Because we're starting to run out of space for them, but the Rotary have always provided that they can utilize that
Yeah.
space, and the American Legion, we made it a part of their memo of understanding that they would have to allow that access. So I think we'll be good to not have to utilize it, that we still have another classroom right inside the door that we're not assigning, that they would have access to, along that we would just kind of move them down a little bit further into this area and some other class areas that we have open. But we are trying to, just so you know, I mean, again, it's really kind of gotten to the point now where, we're gonna have to probably not have full-time space assigned and then just more focus on temporary or satellite or traveling office type space, so. But the bigger part of this, in order for the group to proceed, the bigger thing right now was trying to identify real estate. And so the next steps is they will be organizing an advisory board to come together and talk about the programming, hiring a staff member, also identifying, partnering with the library, partnering with recreation, but also not creating competition with the school, because the school currently has some programs that they have going for after school hours. And so there was so we heard from them, Chief was there. So again, I think it was a really momentum, and it took, it was moving in the right direction on how we can do that. I mean, the bigger part of it too is, minimizing that age group from the library for some of the distractions that are going on there, and maybe providing a dedicated space where we could still partner with the library and they have access, but maybe giving them more within that age range, a space to work from. And if there is some organization that requires larger space or some type of a program, then we discuss with them, then we can schedule like gymnasium use during that time, so long as we don't have a recreation program going. So it'll definitely take some coordination, and also the advisory board is going to be looking at writing grants for funding it, but there was a lot of really good ideas and information that flowed through both these meetings.
All right, further discussion, question? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I believe this is, yes, it's a consent vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we move to item 7, the discussion and appropriate action by the City Council of West Liberty, Iowa, on the reverse osmosis RO Drain 1 membrane and anti-sealant pump upgrade for the water treatment plant in the city of West Liberty. Again, information in the packet on why this is important and a recommendation. Is there discussion by the council?
I can answer questions.
Yeah, there are questions too. We have city engineer here.
Reading through the information provided, I definitely think our option 2 and doing the full scope of it would be the best.
Yeah. Is that a motion? Well, is there further discussion? If not, question to the council member, is that a motion?
Oh, I would make motion to approve option 2.
Second.
All right, the clerk will call the roll.
Martinez,
Yes.
Parizek,
Yes.
McFerren,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
Schiltz.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay, we are now to item 7C, discussion of appropriate action by the City Council of West Liberty on the memorandum action item for Sunshine Bakery LLC for the development of an economic development incentive. So again, there is a packet of or a memo from the city manager in the packet with recommendations. I know that this is something that our economic development director has been working on, and looks like you would like to say something on it.
Absolutely. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to have Sunshine Bakery's baked goods, but they're amazing. And they just came in. So
Yes.
Yeah. You want to introduce yourself quick, the council, the mayor? But
Deborah Lopez, one of the founders of Sunshine Bakery with my sister. Her name is Rebecca, so.
My name's Eddie Lopez. You guys probably know me as Dave around here. I'm her husband. I've been helping her on with the Sunset Bakery.
Okay, so welcome.
Did you say potato?
Yep.
Okay, well, if I
Never
keep
heard
eating the
that.
bread, I'm gonna do known as sourdough. No, they came and we met with Lee and we talked about options for the bakery. They're gonna be opening where the old tortilla factory used to be, an ice cream shop. And we discussed some of the other towns around and other towns our sites are doing kind of economic development incentives for small businesses to help them, open up. Sometimes it's waiving the permits, and I think in this case it was the yearly permit for the mobile stand. Some of the cities are waiving like some of the utility costs for the first, couple months as an incentive. These are tools that we can do that we can't afford to, do like the downtown tip grants or tax abatement, but they're things that the city can do to encourage, small businesses like Sunshine Bakery to open. So I would, encourage you to support this.
Is that on Thursday? Is that where that states is?
It's right across from, where like your EDA is. It's across the street to the door, right there.
Yes, okay.
And that's temporary.
Okay.
There's gonna be a building downtown renovated, and I think within a year we'll get them to come downtown. So. Anyway, so yeah. Any questions on that incentive?
Or any further discussion from the council members?
I just wanted to add that, thank you to the Sunshine Bakery and also Potato. And I'm so very excited for the young couple and the sisters on this adventure. It's difficult, for any small business. And again, I mean, they've worked hard. They're not only, doing the bakery. I think that, people don't necessarily understand that they also go to the work to help out the community as a whole. The bakery provides, and I don't want to embarrass you, but I really think that you need to be, you're cheerleaded on for the things that you're doing in the community. I mean, they assist out with the food pantry. If they hear of a family in need, they don't make a big to-do about it. They make sure that the, folks don't go hungry. And, and to me, that's part of a public purpose right there. And, and this is an opportunity that we get to work, and a partnership, but, I enjoyed the creativity between the director and myself, and then speaking with them and listening to what their needs were. I believe that it, provided and challenged the Wheelie director and myself to, fit what they were looking at and need. So I don't know what else more to say other than I'm really pleased by the work that these folks are doing and really recommend, however we can find within our means to give them the support for success. So
Oftentimes the people that have the skills and the talent to provide service like this don't have the startup fund and it's barriers, to people who want to start a business. So I really love this, and I hope that we can do it for more businesses as well. So
yeah, we all agree with that, and we just, again, they're willing to take a chance on us, as well, working through these, and we'll continue to see what we can come up for small business opportunities. So, Mr. Mayor,
Looking through the list of, different things that help work around with a startup. I just start thinking this is going to become the norm for new businesses coming in, wanting to set up shop. It's going to be, the $1,000 utility credit, the list it can go, which is huge help for startup businesses, of course, but is this gonna be then offered to any new business that's gonna try and come and start up as well?
Can I answer
Go-
that?
go for it.
That's a really good question, Josh. This is the start. It's kind of a pilot program. You know, we're able to get creative, and you as a council are able to get creative on what we do to encourage small business growth and startup. I think, you know, we're gonna take this, and obviously, you know, we want this to be a big success, but I know that you guys as a city are doing the planning sessions, kind of strategic planning, and then I know economic development is going to be coming together with you guys within the next couple of months to do a session too. That's where we'll discuss it. You know, what are things that other towns again are doing that are growing, that are seeing a lot of new businesses, startups come, versus like what do we have? So the answer is like it's up in the air, but you know, talking to other, you know, development groups in the area and other, you know, city administrators, it's just up to the council. We can get creative on these, but I think like when we do the strategic planning, that's a good thing to talk about is like, do we want to come up with this? Like, what can we afford to do to encourage it? And then, you know, people apply and get that, because obviously we want to bring new businesses, and we're ecstatic that they're coming. And again, the investment we're giving them is what they do for the community and the people they're feeding behind the scenes. Like Lisa said, this is a really good investment for West Liberty. You know,
I
But-
completely agree.
good question.
Several good businesses that do multiple things as well that I think.
Yep.
Seeing things in here as well as, you know, authorizing the bakery to be approved vendor for city events, trainings, meetings.
Yep.
Are we authorizing, I believe we have another bakery in town, are they authorized to? Or what are we?
Yeah, I mean,
I almost feel like this is somewhat ahead of the.
well, what we're doing here is like, this is a setting somewhat like a development agreement that you would do with a developer. But this is a small business agreement that we work to be creative to tailor through conversations with them. What we've identified, and it's not saying that we can't do a vendor procurement with, you know, others. We haven't done it before. This is just an opportunity for us to start moving in that direction, as you were saying, a pilot program. You know, this is, you know, trial and error for us too, is to see what works or what doesn't work. And I think the bigger part of it is having the flexibility to tailor to the business need. And so again, going down, you know, going forward in the future, it could be creating that utility, small business utility credit, where we identify in our budget a percentage that we're going to give over to WeLead that they hold in a grant opportunity where people can apply for that utility credit, similar to what we did for, you know, part of this is coming from what we did for the residents during the ARPA funding and offering up. I mean, this is just, you know, a step in the direction to say, how can we provide within means to give them funding for their startup and their overhead? Where can we make a difference? And where in some businesses in our downtown area, we did the $25,000 revitalization matching. But then we also have to include that we have other business, just like you're saying, throughout the community. If they come and they request it with WeLead, then WeLead steps in and then they call a meeting, and then we start going through these with those business owners. And again, just working to tailor what the need is, and then identifying as if it's working well, then we can tailor some more incentive programs that are approved by council for these types of things. And also at the same time, I want to give credit to Phil, because we're also working on identifying what state and federal funding grants are out there from female business ownership, you know, the Latino Hispanic ownership. So they're also looking at those and identifying, because there was some new funding that came out, the LIFT grant. We felt like it really fits a lot of their needs. So this is also, when you're applying for those grants, is an opportunity to show what the city's investment is as part of that matching percentage. does that kind of help answer a little bit of questions? Yeah, but we would definitely invite any business in our community to meet with WeWe. Because that's where it starts. They listen and then they start working through those things. And these folks that spoke to WeWe, they've spoken to the chamber, they've met with me. I know they've talked to the mayor. So this is something we've probably been talking about for probably almost a year. So to where they finally we were able to find some real estate. So
I kind of see it too as a pilot program because I know that in order to really have stake in our city, we have to really offer some incentives, whether it's development and development properties or businesses. I kind of see it as a parallel twofold. Right now, we're just doing it, I assume, as new businesses. And then hopefully there'll be a parallel, I would assume, with a program to offer to existing businesses. That's what I hope the plan is, because I think it's important to be able to sustain but encourage growth within the community. So, and I think as far as like following template, I almost like the fact that it's catered and flexible because not all businesses are the same. And that way we can have a whole checklist, but not everybody will have the same checks. That's how I see it. Is that kind of what you were thinking?
Yeah,
I mean, and you're welcome to talk, to these folks. And I mean, that's essentially what we did is we started with a listing of things. They brought some information, we brought some information, and we just worked through that list to identify to where at the end of our meeting, this is where, those conversations went to where we are thinking, okay, well, we're going to put this before council. Well, I think this is within our means. Again, it would have to go before our legal and we would create an agreement with them. But I think there's potential for other small businesses, and maybe it doesn't include all of these. But I think in the situation back to COVID, when the pandemic occurred, had we had some type of a utility assistance, I think a lot of the small businesses, we could have worked with them during that pandemic to provide them at least the flexibility of not being disconnected, because they were burdened by the financial burden of the pandemic. Or maybe there's other things that we can create as a criteria for small businesses for that, for financial assistance that they would qualify through. And again, it's coming up with an idea to talk with WeLead and creating maybe for small business and specifically say, what does small business need? And you identify that criteria. And within that, then here are some options that we could offer up like a menu, but it doesn't mean that we would be limited to that.
Yeah.
If this is going to develop into a permanent thing though, in the future, if we do come up with criteria, I'd like to have it before council so that we could see,
Absolutely.
what is in consideration and the timeframes as well.
And I think that's the work that we need, is there, that's again, I mean, Phil's been doing a phenomenal job hitting the ground running, and the bigger part of it is him trying to pin me down. Likewise, these folks were, chasing me, it's like, okay, we've got this time, let's get together and let's get this knocked out. But he has definitely, and I think that's part of that partnership is working with me to come up with these creative solutions, and doing what we're doing here is bringing that before council.
what we'll do when we do the planning session, I'm happy to put together some ideas for that. I've been taking a lot of information from Iowa Economic Development, learning what other other cities are doing for their small businesses. And what we tailored, we're not writing a check.
Right.
We're using tools that we can do. And, the city is helping a new startup, I'm calling them a new startup because they're in a new location. We're using tools to help them making an investment, but it's going to pay dividends, the sales tax, the rent, what they're giving back, it's going to more than make up. So we're doing the same with other businesses. I'm working with, businesses that are here. And we're looking at, I guess, case by case, that, you know, what makes sense. You know, we're doing what's responsible for.
And I understand this is an unusual request for most
Right.
cities anyway.
Well, we learned through the Iowa Rural, Brittany and I attended the Iowa Rural Initiative, and Brittany Morales with ISG has had a lot of experience, and in fact, you know, one of the communities we talked about, you know, their goal, and this is what their city did, is they got creative because their goal was to fill empty storefront. And so this is part of, you know, this is our creativity, but it's work like this that, you know, provided those rural Iowa communities that were pretty much non-existent in having retail or any stores, that they got full store.
Councilmember Dominguez
Yeah.
has been trying to.
I was patiently waiting. My only comment, I don't know if Josh was kind of leading to this or not, is just to be really careful with like demographic stuff, because I have a DEI background. I'm all for removing those barriers and opening those opportunities, but I know the current climate, even at the state, you know, is really making sure that we remove that language and stuff. And I would not want that to come back on Sunshine Bakery.
Right.
Or, you know, so just reading through this, it makes me smile, and I'm really excited, but I also like just to be careful.
Yep.
We could even if this is a template, it could be just based on economic, you know, things, you know.
Yeah, this is our ask of you to say, can we proceed to the next part where we take this to our legal, and then we let legal do their work. You know, this is our pre-work. So we can put it together. If there are things in here, again, I mean, definitely I would want to hear from council if there's things you're not comfortable with. Likewise, you're gonna all hear from us when it comes back from legal, because we all know once it goes through legal, they're gonna have, you know, their say. But I mean, this is what we created together, and we're just looking to say, you have our blessing to proceed, or you don't have our blessing and you're not comfortable with it, go back to the conversation, you know.
So in moving forward, on whichever action with it, are we okaying the list of incentives that are listed through here, or these are just thoughts and ideas?
These are what I'm asking. The director and I are asking to send to our legal counsel to have them review to make sure that we can legally offer these recommendations as a part of an agreement. Their small business development agreement, as a part of the agreement, what can we legally do and in that part? And because the bigger thing is you're identifying the public purpose, that we're not, you know, doing anything we shouldn't be doing or saying anything we shouldn't be doing. But again, these have become pretty common throughout many communities. Again, you know, it's just as important to them to build a storefront, support those small businesses, and because we start there, and just like we're saying, I mean, our vision, I don't know if it's their vision, but our vision is to see, you know, a bigger building and more employees, but we have to start somewhere.
I look forward to more information. Bill, and gratefully is your work, and I look forward to Sunshine Bakery too. So
Cool.
Yeah, I just want to be clear that this will like set the tone for future actions and obviously good things, but overall, this is what we're gonna do, so what we're gonna do for everybody.
Cool. Is there further discussion? Is there a motion?
I'll move to direct the city manager to work with lead to create the economic development incentive program package for Sunshine Bakery, which includes the incentives of the utility credits and extensions and construction permit fee waivers and vendor permit waivers, and the city procurement participation is outlined in the memorandum.
Is there a second? I'll second that. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we will move to item 7B. Discussion of appropriate action by the City Council of West Liberty on the Economic Development Matching Fund grant for WLFE application 20250120-01. So again, discussion, there's a memo in the packet prepared by the city administrator that outlines and gives recommendation. So it's a discussion by the council.
Is this a new property for them, correct?
It is. So this is actually, you guys, council previously voted on this grant in it was the last granting cycle. Unfortunately, for the last granting cycle, we had no support. My predecessor left out like one of the most important aspects of it, which is the facade improvement component of the grant. And so I've been working with IEDA, since I've started, went to a workshop in Des Moines, on the catalyst grant. I've been working with Frank and Emily on this. So this is the same grant that the city council had approved and voted on previously. This is where we're going to use $25,000 of this grant as like city support, which scores really well. So if, the $25,000 investment from the city, and then we're going to be talking about other incentives, like possibly, waiving the permit fee. The more the council for the city shows contributing to this project, the higher the score. Just so you know, like if this gets approved through Iowa, like we're talking about probably a $380,000 restoration on a business downtown, a building, which is going to be great for the tax rolls. But that's huge. But this would just be using one of the 4 TIP grants. And this is that same grant that we found out why we didn't get awarded that last time and corrected that. And I think we're really optimistic that we would get it this time around.
The grant we offer, we got right, correct?
Yeah, the 25.
The matching, it's in the matching.
Yep.
I just didn't see anything indicating that what the total project cost is for, and then the matching part of it, because I only see the 25,000 that we forgive it.
It's gonna get more down into it with the catalyst grant.
Okay.
There's 2 separate items on the agenda with the city's consultation and then the catalyst.
Yeah.
Allow them to proceed.
Essentially, what we're saying is the 25,000 application is the city's investment, the same that we have consistently done with their other 2 buildings under the catalyst grant, which requires the city, because that grant is being applied through the city, and we're also required then as the city to provide some percentage of a matching investment. And our 25,000 and, waiving building permits and things like that, add as,
Okay, I just want to make sure,
Yep.
got it.
Is there further discussion? Is there a motion?
Motion to go ahead and approve the economic development grant.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is let's see, this one is a roll call, I believe. No, this is consent vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We move to item 7E, resolution 2026-01 20-302, a resolution authorizing the city of West Liberty to apply for the 2026 IEDA catalyst grant on behalf of WLFE LLC as part of the West Liberty Downtown Revitalization Grant. Is there a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion to approve
Is
this
there a-
application.
Thank you. Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Schiltz,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
Parizek,
Yes.
McFerren,
Yes,
Martinez,
Yes.
motion passes 5-0.
We'll move to item 7F, resolution 26-0120-303, a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit notice of termination of the facilities interconnection agreement with Interstate Power and Light Company, parentheses, Alliant Energy. And you have received information beforehand to review. Is there a motion to approve?
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the termination.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
McFerren,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
Parizek,
Yes.
Schiltz,
Yes.
Martinez.
Yeah.
Motion passes 5-0.
Moving on then to item 7G, resolution 2026-0120-304. A resolution setting the time and place for a public hearing on the plans and specifications for the Sixth Street reconstruction project in the city of West Liberty. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. And it's recommended that this be on February 3rd at 6:30 PM during a regular council meeting. Is there discussion?
Will the folks along Sixth Street be notified? That ahead of time?
We can for that piece. I was thinking they can come to that one, but doing a separate meeting for those residents
Oh,
there. Yeah,
okay.
more of a town hall meeting so they can come up and we can talk through the
Okay.
plans and ask.
I know that's like the one thing, anytime we do this, if the residents aren't notified, they get upset, so.
And I can send over a
Yeah.
little news blast that you can put on your Facebook page on the city webpage that you can send to the residents too for this.
We also talked about maybe putting something like on their doors or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, they have an employee.
Yeah, Nick Frederickson, his name gets to go on that one, so.
We have it, we have it in Spanish and English,
Yeah, we can.
okay.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Parizek,
Yes.
Dominguez,
Yes.
McFerren,
Yeah.
Schiltz,
Yes.
Martinez.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
We move to item 7H, setting the date for the public hearing on the US 6 bridge over Wapsit. Can't say it tonight. Thank you, Creek, for the Iowa DOT to acquire a permanent easement from the city of West Liberty. And the public hearing would be February 3rd, 2026 at 6:30 PM. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Second. Is there discussion?
So these easements are going to, in order for the bridge to widen. And in addition to that, they're making a access of walking, pedestrian walking. So that easement then will connect that into, to the Watson.
You were going to say something.
Basically, I was just asking the same thing.
Is there further discussion?
It's consent.
It's consent, sorry, okay, so consent that it be at 6:30 on February 3rd, 2026. That moves us to item 7I, preview of the February 23rd council meeting. One thing I want, has been brought up in other gatherings that I've been part of, is that our nation turns 250 years old on July 7th. 2026, and so other organizations are starting to think about things. I had a discussion with the city manager on a recommendation that we consider some banners downtown symbolizing this, and so other things that council would be thinking about. Other things you could think of that we should talk about on the 3rd.
I think we were gonna, I owe you information on the Discovery Trail.
Right,
Implementation. And we will set the public hearing for a budget amendment for the 20th. And I also look to set budget meetings with your calendars. I'll make some recommendations so we can start planning ahead for those budget meetings.
I just forwarded the Nileo stuff to Shari.
Okay, yeah.
All right, with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I
Would you
wanted-
have something else?
Yeah, I wanted to thank Lee for putting out the special report from the Iowa League of Cities. It's very concerning this year, especially with the potential, if not already, passed legislation in regards to property tax levy ceiling. I mean, that's going to jeopardize potentially our general fund income quite a bit if we have a ceiling. Plus the fact that they're looking at freezing property tax for people 60 and older, I believe. So again, that's another hit for the small towns versus the large urban areas.
I did have one thing, and I apologize, I overlooked, but I just want to recognize our library director. I was invited to come along with her today for the Lexington County Board of Supervisor meeting today for funding. And I believe she provided them a very factual and good information and the fair ask of the percentage of our budget, especially when there are other cities that are, or at least one city that has been able to be provided the percentage that they've requested year after year. And so our conversation today was, speaking to the terms with the levy and especially for ours and the members that we're serving in the rural community, the school district, and within the city, for the percentage and asking to have them grant us the full percentage. Because again, even with the limited amount they provide us, we're still struggling.
Well, I believe the percentage that one city is getting over two communities is quite a bit. There's a gap, quite a bit of a gap. So I just wanted the public to know that again, amongst other things, to make sure to communicate with the city, county supervisors in regards to this, because I think we're getting really shortchanged on the amount of budgeting that we deserve for the library.
Thank you.
If I can get back on that really
Yeah,
quick, I just want to say I appreciate that Ally does this every single year, anticipating what the probable outcome is going to be, unfortunately. And I know her board respects her kind of fight to try and, get done what's right. But props to you for showing up there, and thanks.
Well,
to-
we provided the fluffy side of it, and then I jumped right in and I said, I'm gonna speak. So that way they still look at her very good.
We might all have to go there.
Yeah, that's a good point, yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
get the letter in February or March usually.
Okay.
They do make their budget deliberation this week or I think next week is when they do, but they don't usually have the broadcast on their YouTube channel because they don't do that with budget deliberation.
I guess
I asked last
yeah.
year.
I'd say to council that if you have an opportunity to send them an email, you certainly reach out to the director and talk with her about her funding request. But yeah, I think that's a really great point too, is that, contact them, send them an email, and let them know our perspective on the budget.
Just be nice to them. They gave me what I asked for.
We will absolutely not be like that.
Don't be too hard on them. Sorry.
With that, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you all.